While in court, convicts usually feel a lot of emotions about their crimes. It is different for different people. These are some of the reactions of people being sentenced to life. Number 10. Ricky Hand. This clip shows you a man named Ricky Hand, who is standing before the court waiting for his sentence. He was convicted for carrying out several crimes, including armed robberies. At his hearing, he came to the court wearing a sling on his arm. Everyone thought an injury might have caused it, but they couldn't be more wrong. When the judge sentenced him to prison, he reached into his sling and threw a handful of excrement, which he stored in a bottle at his own lair. Such a stinky act. Number 9. Base Webb. This man got into more trouble while he was before the court for his sentencing. He was convicted and was already given a sentence of 50 years in jail for murdering his girlfriend. And then, years later, he was again sentenced to life in prison for another murder. When the judge asked him some questions, he reacted by spitting at her, which made the situation worse. This resulted in getting his sentence extended to an extra 37 years. Number 8. Michael Marin. This man named Michael was convicted on the charges of arson and insurance fraud. While he was in the court waiting for his sentence, the judge could be seen pronouncing him guilty and giving him a sentence of 7 years in prison, which could be extended to 21 years. No one expected what he did next. He had a cyanide capsule in his arms, and as soon as he was sentenced, he lifted his arms and put the capsule in his mouth, which killed him instantly. Number 7. Zarek McCoy. This man was found guilty of shooting a couple 16 times in an attempt to harm them, but they miraculously survived. Despite claiming guilty of attempted murder, McCoy was nonetheless given a life sentence for the crime. He made some crude remarks after being told by the judge that he had no choice but to carry out the sentence. Number 6. Ellen McCarthy. This man first found himself in a court after a custody dispute for a child. But when he threatened to assassinate the judge, things became worse. Moreover, he also threatened the attorneys and the unborn child of one, which led to a 20-year prison sentence for him. When he learned of his sentence, he began to lose his school and started abusing everyone in the courtroom. He had to be pulled out of the room after that. Number 5. Manson Bryant. In this clip taken in 2018, this guy named Manson Bryant was found guilty of armed robbery, kidnapping and other crimes. During his sentence, he stated that he performed all of these while under the influence of drugs, and attempted to avoid them. He even thanked the court for his judgment and complimented it. However, the judge's 22-year prison sentence caused him to change his tune. Bryant began yelling and called the judge a racist right away. He shouted and cursed for some time until the court extended his sentence by 6 years. Number 4. Ryan Stone. Ryan Stone is the man who led law enforcement on a 60-mile high-speed chase before receiving a staggering sentence of 160 years. But why was he being chased? He was accused of a number of crimes, including child abuse and manslaughter. When asked why he did it, he pointed the finger at the drugs. He claims that the drugs made him into another person. Whatever the case, at Stone's sentencing, the defense team recorded the defendant boasting about how he committed the crime and how foolish his victims were while still in custody. Number 3. Erica Mae Butts. Shanithal Atris Cunningham and Erica Mae Butts were both tried for the homicide of a 3-year-old. This happened while they were babysitting the child, but Erica entered an Alford plea. They were hoping for some compassion from the judge. Instead, the sentence disappointed both of them when the judge gave them a life sentence. Butts had a total meltdown in the courtroom as the judge continued to read the punishment. She began to hyperventilate, collapse, and scream. Cunningham also passed out and needed to be helped out of the courtroom. Number 2. TJ Lane. This 18-year-old male is the prototypical cold-blooded killer. He was found guilty at the age of 18 of 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder in connection with a school shooting. He showed up in the court for his sentencing wearing a homemade t-shirt with the word killer inscribed on it. Additionally, he gave the victim's relatives the finger and made crude remarks when turning around to face them during his sentence. Number 1. Dexter Johnson. In this next clip, we can see a man named Dexter Johnson, who was only 19 years old but was an experienced criminal, received a death sentence in 2007. He was found guilty of harassing and killing Maria Paris and engaging in a crime spree that claims the lives of another 2 people. At first, he understood the judge's punishment when it was announced at his hearing, but he threw a chair the next second and began to yell. After that, the court staff had to handle him. Following that, Johnson's sentence was upheld while the courts investigated claims that he had a mental disability. With that, we have come to the end of this video. If you like this video, then make sure to hit the like button. For more videos like this, click on the links you see on the screen. We will be back again with more interesting topics. Until then, goodbye.